All right. Well, guys, this is the first video for Crystal's and I's new channel, Fit Fire Train, where we're going to go talk about anything and everything tactical games.
We are live from my basement, which is why you saw my dog. And you might hear my son in the background being crazy. So, like you said, we're Fit Fire Train. My name's Crystal. This is Mark. We've been doing the tactical games now. I've been doing it for 2 years.
I've been doing it, just started last year. So a little over a year into it.
We'll talk about, how did you get started with the tactical games, Mark?
So, like I said, I got started last year, and I come from a background of ultra marathons, so long distance running, a lot of running, and it's kind of let's see, so towards the end of 2022 was getting kind of burned out on it, and wanted to find something else. Beginning of 2023, I was on Instagram and found the video. I don't know who had posted it or something, but there was a bunch of people running around in plate carriers, lifting heavy weights and shooting guns. I was like, what is this? Checked it out and thought that'd be something I would like, and so did a little bit of research, and I found the group that trains in Kansas City, Mocan Training, and that's how I met Crystal.
Yeah.
So
I forgot we had a name. We kind of just found each other through the tactical games. We didn't even know that we were from Kansas the first time we all met. Like one guy brought us all together, and we just figured out that we knew each other and lived in the same general area.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it still says Mocan Training.
Probably on the Facebook page. Yeah, now we do a lot of group texting. So, So, did you have a background in firearms or anything like that when you started?
Just grew up hunting and shooting, and it had been a while, but had taken several handgun courses, and so I was familiar with firearms and how to handle them, and but it was a whole new world starting the tactical game.
Yeah. And you had, I think, for the first time you came out and trained with us, you already had the guns.
Yes, I had all the guns. So at that time, I ran Glock 19, and then Rock Rivers AR, which I still have, and I've since upgraded to a SIG X5 Legion, way better.
Right.
And
we still have Glocks.
Yeah, so just started coming out and training with you guys, and learned what gear I needed and didn't need, which was super helpful. And like, if you're just starting out into it, you don't need a $150 gun belt.
No, absolutely not.
I run an Amazon $40 one. That's a 3-in-1.
So do I. I have one, and then I have another one as a backup. So, yeah. I think the most important thing to know is, like, you don't need to go out and drop thousands of dollars to begin with. This sport is already expensive enough when you think about it in terms of time and ammo cost. So where you can save money is really important.
Yeah. So bringing up the ammo, I was buying ammo from the stores.
Yeah.
I had no idea about ordering ammo online, and I think it was you and a couple other people were posted, yep, just got my ammo order in today. I'm like, what?
Where did it come
So you sent me the links and the prices. I was like, oh, that's a lot better.
Yeah. I haven't gotten into the reloading game. I know a lot of people do that, but it's just not, I haven't had time or the space to do that yet, but I will eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I think I started training with you guys, I know it was hot, so it was summertime, because I think you guys, when was Iowa last year?
July,
I
think. So you started sometime between July and November.
Yeah.
So you did kind of a weird thing, which is not, you're not the only one who's done this, but you started out at nationals. So you went 3 days straight of this instead of just a regular 2 day regional event, which is
Yeah,
crazy enough.
just if you're gonna go for it, you might as well just go for it.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah,
gonna
full
jump
send.
in with both feet, full send. So back when I was doing the ultra marathons, my first race was a 50K, so 30 miles, and I went from that straight to 100K. So both feet in.
No way.
But yeah, and that was a really cool experience. Um, it I was taken away. Probably the biggest thing that really took me back was how helpful everybody is in this sport. Um, I think I probably said it multiple times, but you would get all your. We had a tent, so you would get all your gear loaded up in your wagon, and then take it to your stage, and you could just leave your wagon there,
Yeah.
and you would look down the lane, and there's hundreds and thousands of dollars
Oh
worth
yeah.
of gear just sitting there, and nobody touches it, nobody steals anything, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because if you did that anywhere else,
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always thought of that too, like that I leave all my stuff laying around, and I'm like, I've never had it, like never concerned that anybody in this community was going to do anything nefarious, and so we just have a really good community in this group.
yeah. So yeah, like Chris said, nationals was my first um, actual tactical games event. 3 days, learned a lot. I went into it just wanting to have fun, and where I came out, and so I competed in the men's intermediate, and ended up coming, I think top. It was top 10.
10, yeah.
I
I
think
think it
I
was
placed
7th.
seventh.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So
Because men's intermediate is usually the biggest group. So
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think there was
upwards of 40, I think,
40,
at nationals. Yeah,
40, 45, something like that.
which is the unique thing about nationals for that division is you don't have to qualify. You can just sign up and pay your money and go from there. But
So
yeah,
yeah, and then had a lot of fun with that, and just going to keep on competing.
yeah,
So
it's
I'm
addicting
hooked.
for sure. It is addicting. Yeah.
So that's my perspective coming into it. A little over a year into it. So what about you, Crystal? You've been doing it quite a while.
Yeah, it feels like a lot. I think I've done 10 now, 10 total events. I started in June of 2021. I found a YouTube video of the tactical games, and being a police officer, I've always been physically. I try to maintain my fitness. I loved shooting before, so I was always shooting guns, and I had just barely started building guns myself, building rifles, and so I found a YouTube video for the tactical games, and I was like, "Holy crap, that looks awesome!" I made sure and emailed the company because it was during COVID when I signed up, and I was like, "Is this going to happen?" Because I don't want to pay this whatever it was at the time, 250 or whatever, and make all these arrangements and it not happen. And I got an email back from the person. They were like, "Yes, of course it's going to happen. No off season." I was like, "All right, let's do this." So I signed up having no idea what I was getting into. I kind of have a unique story. When I signed up, it used to be you had to kind of qualify what your firearms experience was in the sign up.
Okay.
So they asked you what your firearms experience was, and I apparently talked myself up too much. I said, I'm so many years police officer. I've been to several TAC trainings. I'm on a SWAT team. I was on a SWAT team at the time, so I put all this in there, and I signed up for women's intermediate because I was like, I've never done this before. I'm going to take it easy at first and see how this goes. So apparently, when I got there, I apparently talked myself up too much because when I got to the event, I noticed that I was being placed with the women's elite, and I walked up to the match director and I said, "Hey, you guys have got me in the wrong group. I'm in women's intermediate." And I don't know if he realizes that he did this, but he kind of looked at me and he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get that worked out for you." And then nothing changed about the whole weekend. And I ended up competing in women's elite when I had signed up for women's intermediate. But it worked out for me. I got third place on my first event. Took third place, and I've never looked back. Although I have looked at some of the women's intermediate weights and thought, man, that would be so nice to not have to lift such heavy weights.
It is quite a bit of difference.
Yeah.
Between the weights in the different divisions. Did
Yeah.
you were you training for the intermediate division, like the weights, or
I was just doing what I'd been doing for a long time. I'd always been interested in fitness, and I was a bodybuilder for a while before that. So I was just kind of doing the regular uh, deadlifts and squats and whatnot.
I gotcha.
When I got there, they presented us with the sandbag. I had never picked up that kind of implement in my life, and they gave us the 150-pound sandbag, and I think that had been the first time they ever gave that to women. And I was so mad. I got it. I was one of 3 women in women's elite that moved it at all, and I got it about halfway down the field, but couldn't move it anymore. And I was like, I can deadlift more than this. I don't understand why this is happening, but it's just a sandbag is so different than a barbell. And man, you better believe when I got done with that, I was like, I got to figure out how to pick this damn thing up. And so I bought some sandbags, and I've been doing sandbag work ever since. But it is, I do like that women's elite is the same weight as I think men's 40 plus and men's tactical. So anytime somebody in men's intermediate wants to complain about their weight, I'm just like, oh wait, you want to look and see what our weight is?
Kind of the same.
So, yeah. So, but I think that's a unique story. I haven't heard anybody that's had that experience where they got put in a different division. It used to be when I started that if you placed first in women in intermediate, they forced you to go to elite, so you kind of had to push yourself. I don't think they do that. There was kind of an unwritten rule that they did that, but I don't think they do that anymore. But if you're worried about it, like, do intermediate a few times, but then push yourself. Like, there's no reason to not push yourself. Even if there's some heavy hitters in women's elite, there's heavy hitters in men's elite for sure. But I mean, you might as well try. That's what this is all about. It's not to coast. It's about pushing yourself to the next level. And so,
yeah. So at nationals, I did men's intermediate, and now for Iowa, I'm doing men's tactical. So that's the next step up.
And they didn't have that tactical when I started. It's kind of supposed to be the in between, getting a little bit. Although now since we can all have red dots, there's not a whole lot of difference other than the weight. I mean, we're all shooting the same targets, we're all shooting the same distances. It's just the weight is what's different. So, but I can't emphasize enough. Like, try it and keep pushing yourself. Go to the next level of your where you think you can't do it, because otherwise you're just gonna coast. You won't like it.
Yeah, I never thought that I'd be picking up a 150-pound sandbag.
Yeah. Me neither.
400-pound wheelbarrow pushing it.
Yeah.
And 20 some odd yards, unloading sandbags, loading them back up.
Yeah. And I'm really good at I call it just brute strength stuff, like dummy strength, where caveman picks the heavy thing up and puts it in another place. Like, I'm really good at that stuff. It's the things that you're supposed to be fast at, the box jumps, the burpees. I'm not. I wish I had more fast twitch muscles, but I don't. I'm working on it. But that's where But I excel at the stuff like I can farmer's carry all day because I grew up on a farm. Like, no big deal for me. But
what was the stage there at nationals? It's the one that they were doing the door breach, but the door breaches weren't working, so they just X that out. What was that stage?
I don't remember what it was called. I struggled with the door breach in the beginning it took me probably 30 to 45 seconds to get through the door. And it takes a lot of your energy, and that, so, then you were gassed by the time you were expected to do so many burpees. And so it's all about, like, controlling your heart rate and trying to focus on thinking 3 steps ahead, and knowing that you got to serve where you can and push where you need to.
Because I remember, the doors, I know, broke pretty early on, so my division didn't do the door breach.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah. Because being an elite, usually you get to hit everything first, so I don't really know what happens after that.
I want to say it was either men's elite or the group after.
Broke them.
broke them.
That sounds about right.
And it was the door didn't break. It was the RAM that
Oh
broke.
yeah,
The
yeah.
RAM snapped, so they didn't have any extras of those. But no, on that stage, whenever I got done, they're like, "All right, you have 4 minutes left." And I go, "What do you mean? You have 4 minutes to do as many burpees as you can." 4 minutes doing burpees.
in full kit.
Throwing
yeah.
a 60-pound sandbag over the box, and then you go over the box, do a burpee, bag back over box, you go over box,
Yeah.
do a burpee. It's a long time.
At that point, it's just like you gotta be somewhere else in your mind and just keep pushing because they're just that's just crazy. That's a lot of burpees. You know, you just gotta turn your mind off and just go one step at a time until you hear the beep.
So your first competition, you signed up for intermediate, got thrown into elite, and you just have stayed there.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't at that time. Like I said, they were putting people. It was kind of an unwritten rule that if you placed in intermediate, you couldn't go back down, or if you placed in elite or whatever, you couldn't go back down. And so I just kind of stuck with that. I don't think that they would. I think if I tried to sign up for intermediate, they would make me do it. I think they'd do the same thing again. I don't think they would let me do intermediate, but it would be nice. It would be super nice. So that's kind of our backstory. We'll probably throw in some extra stuff here and there. I think our next video is going to be about like picking the event and what you need to plan for moving forward, like the practical stuff, like where you're going to stay and what you need to take the day of. And so I think that'll be the next thing we talk about.
Yeah. And we wanted to start this channel because we're just two ordinary people that work our jobs, and we're not sponsored by anybody, and we're doing this to have fun, to push ourselves. So we kind of wanted to start a channel about, hey, this is how you do this, or hey, we have found this product works, but this one works a little better. Stay away from these. And it's all trial and error, and just trying to help people out with what we've learned. And
yeah. We're not experts at anything, but we got a little bit of experience. We got a little bit of life experience. I mean, I've done the tactical thing at my job, and he lifts heavy things and takes naps at work, I think. And so
you're just jealous.
He's all about recovery and rest. But yeah, I mean, this is fitness. Being fit for duty is our day to day. So this is not what we do for a living. This is just how we decompress. So and it means a lot to us because it's a good way of meeting people and collaborating and making lifelong friends and pushing yourself. You're never going to change if you don't push yourself. So.
That's right.
Ooh.
And they're called safety naps.
I got you. I'm just jealous.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.